I wanted to touch on criminality again because it's a very big issue for Black women. For hundreds of years in America, including now, most of the crimes against Black women, of course, have gone unnoticed or is followed by some type of justification. People often like to justify or behave as if problems today did not exist before. And because America is so politicized, this is an issue that gets wrapped up in politics, even though it should not be political. The Black community has had extreme violence since forever. There are now new scapegoats, such as welfare or feminism. These scapegoats kind of replaced the white man's scapegoat. Black women who aren't mammies cannot count on neither left-wing or right-wing supporters or politicians to aid them in ending or decreasing these crimes. To make it worse, the majority of Black women actively ignore criminals in their community, either out of love for horrible males or fear of retaliation, and older mammies help aid and abet their criminal sons. So, a lot of these mammies are victims of these unaliving crimes because they have the closest proximity to the perpetrators and they think they will be spared. But Black women who aren't mammies can also become victimized, as well as minor Black girls who simply cannot remove themselves from that environment. White males have been very much aware of this criminality in Black males, but it's only now getting a spotlight in the media because the crimes have gotten so obvious, it's now affecting other communities. When it was only affecting Black girls and women, it was not talked about, hence the sudden outrage about crimes as if the crimes came out of nowhere. In the future, if it goes back to only affecting Black girls and women, it will go back to being swept under the rug of society, and people will rejoice in crimes not staining the country publicly anymore. Even the white fake outrage about Black males attacking Asians was not out of concern for violent crime, but more in attempts to garner Asian support. I want to touch on white males supporting the criminality and degeneracy of Black males. Some people of all demographics support the Republican Party, but it's mostly white males. They also make up the majority of politicians and law enforcement officers. Some of them often claim they do not control anything in America and everything is out of their control, but they are still in these positions. Some big things are out of their control. However, the majority of local movement in law enforcement as of today is in their control because it's them. Both left-wing and right-wing white males support Black male criminality. The left-wing actively ignore and help criminals getting out of prison on the basis of race. The right-wing actively support while publicly denouncing and now help criminals getting off based on gender. So, a lot of Black women, but more importantly Black girls, are stuck in a community of extremely violent offenders who will have plenty of support no matter what crimes they are committing. Specifically, support from law enforcement. So this is the party of law and order. Outside of the Black community, white males are having a little crisis with white women, and because of this significant increase in divorce, financial insecurities, and whatever other issues they have going on, this does affect what I'm talking about. I've already spoken on right-wing white males essentially trying to allure Black women to supporting them. Instead of just talking to the collective of Black women who will actually listen to him, they've taken to bullying and harassment tactics or posting things like a millionaire male taking his Black wife shopping and the guy who shared it basically said, this is why women should support being in traditional relationships and love being married. I'm happy for that woman, but most people in America will never be a millionaire and definitely cannot afford to be luxury shopping. But the point was to try and get support and say, we are protectors and providers, and that's why we deserve support from not just women, but Black women especially, who clearly don't have this in their own community. So I'm just pointing out how issues specific to Black women are not genuinely addressed by these talking heads. And it's similar to how leftist politicians will ignore issues and do something silly like build a statue or give Black people a holiday. A large portion of white males in America have an issue with women. A lot of the older ones have been divorced from white women. Some of them just openly hate all women. And the Republican males who don't hate women refuse to acknowledge this. while actively pushing for women to feel safe near these males and get married to them. There was a police officer last year who ran over an Indian girl in college. Caught on tape, another officer can be heard laughing before he said, "Yeah, just write a check." $11,000. She was 26 anyway. She had limited value. Now, the outrage that followed this was talking about xenophobia and racism because he's white, but they should have been talking about how his comments were about her gender. Obviously, this is the same type of rhetoric everyone on the internet can see white males support, encourage, and spout with black males. I'm sure if that Indian girl was black, his comments would have been much worse. And of course, that officer had a history of unaliving people. Now, I've already mentioned before that black women generally are correct in not trusting the police, but not for the same reasons as me. I do not support the government, and most police officers are just an extension of that, and they're enforcers. Most black women don't support cops because they are black male worshipers, and they just want to support those criminals, and that's really the only reason why. Because if a police officer is violent with a black woman with no justification, most of these BLM women do not care. However, like I said, black women are the main victims of these black male crimes, so also find themselves in a situation where they should be calling the police more. And just hope that one of the police officers that show up are not like the officer I just talked about. If you called the police because a male is following you down the street, I'm sure you know that type of officer will be angry with you and not the criminal. Some of these white males are claiming to support righteousness and morality and wanting this to be ingrained in the future of America, while encouraging black male degeneracy all over the world. From violence and abusing women to incels supporting sexual deviance, the lie that black women kicked black males out of their homes resonated with white males because they are getting divorced and actually being kicked out of their homes. This is a white conversation black people really shouldn't be a part of because most black people have never been married, and unlike white males, most black people do not own any homes. For black marriages, it's actually the opposite because black women lose wealth when they marry black males. A lot of these women are actually starting to pay child support to them, not the other way around. On top of the obvious fact that the collective of black males do not own anything worldwide, not even in black majority countries or neighborhoods, so they really have nothing to lose, unlike white males. I have noticed while this is increasing, younger white women are starting to no longer support right-wing politics, as this anti-woman rhetoric and support and adoption of black male degeneracy gets more common among white males. And these were the women who were pretending to be conservative in hopes of marrying some rich right-wing talking head, so not even the trad conwives can deal with it. I'm sure there's plenty of black girls who are tired of leftists who haven't done anything for them outside of virtue signaling and using them, and they were thinking of switching to the Republican Party, especially with the law and order calls, and I'm sure as soon as they entered one Republican space and saw the rhetoric there, they quickly turned right back around. I personally have voted Republican in the 2020 election, but years ago already made my decision to not support again. So, seems I'm only being proven right. Some black women will support Republican if they want. Unfortunately, a lot will continue supporting Democrats who also do not have their best interest at heart. And some black women will either embrace being a centrist or not vote at all, regardless of politics. All black women should be proactive in self-defense and firearms training because clearly the criminals of America aren't going anywhere anytime soon. You can't spend any time near mammies who support these criminals, and clearly this support exists in other spaces. Silk, a member of the former Diamond and Silk, has been pressing for black male sexual predators to be released from prison. Male-worshipping mammies are everywhere and a threat to the safety of black girls. There are other black women who previously have supported right-leaning politics, especially Donald Trump, and they have been taking steps back and no longer supporting them. Especially women like Angela Stanton King, who was very active in supporting Trump. She is now supporting another candidate. I do not support all her rhetoric, but simply using her as an example. because other black women will be following her. White males, in their attempt to gain voters, have allowed all types of gay things and propping up males in dresses to push what they call conservative values. Because of stereotypes and black male symbols, they are also saying things like black people will support Republicans because Trump is now a criminal, which is hilarious and sad. But also just proves my point. They seem to think embracing criminality will attract black women who actually have decent values, which is completely devoid of logic. Or they think because white males are patriarchs that black women will be fine being completely ignored while they try to attract black male criminals who are worshipped in Blakistan. But these black males are embraced by the worst type of black people, not the best, and there is a growing movement of black women who are no longer being black male worshippers and blindly following black males. So again, very ridiculous, but makes sense if they don't care what type of black people support them. They just want someone to vote for them, which is why I've seen them promoting black male crackheads who call themselves comedians, black males who have criminal records and brag about abandoning their family because their weave-wearing baby mama is annoying and fat. I've also seen white males laughing along with a black male kicking a black woman out of his car because she refused to sleep with him. These same people, of course, claiming to want to see a decrease in out-of-wedlock sex in children because they are oh so religious. Not to mention various other things going on with the behavior of supporters in that movement. Clearly, the state of the Republican Party is tragic, bizarre, and very degenerate. Many insist that all women are lying immediately when there is any accusation of a male committing a crime. Typically, this is rhetoric when talking about white women. White women are known for being very dishonest, but black males are also known for being dishonest, and black women ignore that. So black women even bothering to pick a side is ridiculous, especially when they side with guilty black males, and these males then turn right around and advocate for other guilty black males who have harmed black girls and women. There is a famous quote that goes, "A nation's greatness is measured by how it treats its weakest members, women, children, and the elderly."